Today's schools are responsible for an enormous amount of compliances, but when we drill into it a little further, what we find is that most Australian and indeed most Tasmanian school leaders wish to stand for two really important areas. And number one is that we want to be responsible for turning our young people into fantastic learners. So not only what we teach them, but also how we teach them to learn is really important. And the second thing that we actually really want to stand for is to work with parents to be able to build fantastic citizens out of our young people. And when we look into both of those key areas and the influences upon them, what we tend to find is that school culture stands out as being incredibly important. Now, this stands to reason to me because when I work with schools all around Australia, I often ask the rather controversial question of, is school culture important? And almost everybody puts their hand up. They don't know that I have a sneaky little secondary question coming along, which is, if it's so important, I'm just going to randomly select one of you to tell me what the correct definition of school culture is. And the hands go down rather quickly. I often make the joke that we turn into the famous Australian character Dennis Denuto from the movie The Castle, trying to describe the Constitution when we describe it as being the vibe or the feel. And the truth around school culture is that if it's incredibly important, if it's as important as we say it is, then surely we should be clear about what it is if we're going to focus on it and work on it in any kind of intentional way. So what I want to do today is to put before you a definition of school culture and to see how that resonates with you and to see if it can become the working definition of culture for your school. My belief around culture is that it's a behavioural set. And culture is a set of behaviours of two kinds. First of all, it's the behaviours that we encourage. So these are the behaviours that we say we love that, we value that, it's important to us. We reward it maybe extrinsically but regularly intrinsically by letting people know that that helps us to be able to function as human beings in our mini institutions. The wonderful part about being able to reward those behaviours in some way is that we let people know that they contribute to our values rather than just hoping that our values will filter down into an influence over behaviour. Making your values come to life is very much a behavioural pursuit, and we need to get beneath the label and into what people are actually doing to be able to make our values incredibly meaningful for our organisations. So we want to have as many as possible behaviours sitting within that pile of those behaviours that we're encouraging. But whether we like it or not, there is another set of behaviours contributing to our culture, and they are the behaviours that we tolerate. So my working definition for culture is that it's the set of behaviours that we encourage and that we tolerate. Why are we tolerating those behaviours? Well, I would contend that in most circumstances it's because we haven't found the will, the skill, or sometimes we haven't found the time to be able to challenge those behaviours. So I would contend to you that cultural leadership is all about being honest, all about being aware of what are the behaviours in each of those piles, and having a repeatable methodology for being able to tackle the behaviours in the tolerate pile such that we can replace them with behaviours that we wish to encourage. Schools that have strong, relational, sustainable cultures are those with bigger piles of behaviours that they encourage than the behaviours that they tolerate. And what we find in those organisations is that culture serves the learning program incredibly well, and it serves the connectivity between the three key stakeholders in a school culture: the staff, the students, and the parent and guardian community. I'm wondering if you've thought with any great intention around how you are encouraging the right behaviours in your schools and how those behaviours might be different to others. And what's your methodology? What's your approach for being able to transfer behaviours from those that we're currently tolerating over to new behaviours that we can encourage to get that culture that can serve your learning program in a really meaningful way?